Hello. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to review some of the less popular books, less reviewed and less well-known books that I'm probably trying to find some hidden gems out there, but sometimes I just want to rant about those books that are not very popular. So today I read Caligula. I've read Caligula by Simon Turney. Yeah, this is an retelling. I mean, it's a historical fiction. Yeah, it's a historical fiction about the Roman Emperor Caligula, uh, which was known to be crazy. But this story, something is not quite right there. I rate it 4 star. I would say that it's below 4 star. It's like 3.5 star. It's not the best. You see, if I want the best historical fiction, I'll look for Robert Harris. Robert Harris is the best historical fiction author that I have known of. I love his Pompeii. I love his uh, Dictator. Yeah, those are some of his best work. But this author is not so famous. Caligula is not so famous. This book is not so famous. I read this book and I understand why it is not good at all. I mean, I will give it a 3.5 star, but on Goodreads, I'll just give him a 4 star. Because this book is okay, it's well written. It's narrated by Caligula's sister. And the whole point is I want to make this short because I have multiple books I want to rant about. So there won't be much spoiler. But for this book, so it kind of like use the perspective of uh, Caligula's sisters trying to tell a story that Caligula is an emperor, is not the worst emperor of Rome. So yeah, the story goes like trying to, it's not good at all because the author kind of tried to make Claudius the worst compared to Caligula. So it's like, well, it's just, I mean, yeah, the author tried to make Caligula a better emperor, but he do it by using another Roman emperor and make him worse than Caligula. So that's why I kind of like, that's not the right. I mean, that's not interesting to do it. That's not the best way to do it. I mean, if the author want to write about Caligula, there are ways, there are better ways to make this story work. Let's say if this story, the author don't want it to be historically accurate, he will have a lot of ways to make the story interesting. For me, this book is not a memorable read, and yeah, I kind of, well, just 3.5 star. If you are interested in ancient Roman historical fiction, I would suggest Robert Harris. Robert Harris is the best author so far that I know of for Rome, ancient Roman historical fiction. All right. So the next book is a strange book because I'm trying to find some new books to read. I'm trying to get some niche and interesting book to read. And this book, I caught attention on this book because of the cover. You see, I am an author myself. I wrote a book myself and I have chosen a cover with birds. This is the book I wrote. So this is the cover that I made. I use birds to be the cover on the I use birds on top of the cover. And then when I look at the library, I got attracted by this cover. This cover is so beautiful, so amazing. And then when I read the blurb, this blurb is so interesting because this is a fantasy realism, something similar to what do you call it? Something similar to Percy Jackson, but it is set in the Southeast Asian region. I do notice that the author trying to make an alternative Singapore. Yeah. And also the prose, the sentences, the prose inside the book, there are a lot of Singlish used in the book. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It makes the book unique. But something really pissed me off. Yeah, in the page 49, something really pissed me off. It started great. It started with a nice idea. I think this is a bright idea. I think this is an interesting book. But in page 49, I really freaked out. I really freaked out by page 49. The reason is, all right, don't get me wrong. I enjoy smut. I read smut books. I appreciate smut in books. But some borderline gray smut, no thank you. I'm not going to recommend this book. First, because it is written there are a lot of Singlish used in this book. So if you are a reader looking for a very proper English book, then this might not be something that you enjoy. And second, I really DNF this book. That's why I didn't give it a good read reviews. I DNF because in the very beginning, just in front of the book, like just about 49 pages, page 49, I read that segment. I was like, okay, I think I don't want to continue to read this book because I cannot take it. I mean, the protagonist was very well written. I mean, it's very the character is well built, but it's just not for me. So this is not going to be any star at all. I won't review this. If you enjoy such kind of story, just to let you know, such kind of story exists, but I'm not recommending this other than the beautiful cover. I wonder who's the artist of this cover. It is really beautiful. I really love it. Yeah, the cover really nice. Okay, next. I think this is the next book. Yeah. A Short Walk Through a Wide World. This book is actually quite good. It's a very good. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the protagonist, Aubrey, is it her name? Because I read so much books, sometimes I forgot the protagonist name. Aubrey. Yeah, Aubrey. Her name is Aubrey. The protagonist, her name is Aubrey. And she kind of have a special disease, a sickness that is incurable, a very strange disease that push her to travel nonstop. I mean, it is interesting because it kind of reflect to us reader, reflect to myself that am I staying in the comfort zone? Because I don't like travel, to be honest. I don't like travel whenever my company send me to other places just to work on something. Sometimes I mean my colleagues will enjoy it, others might enjoy it because you got the chance to travel all over the world. But for me, I feel tired and I feel sick of it. I really feel jet lag. I cannot work in another environment. I feel comfortable within my own area that I'm familiar with. So this book really um, trigger me to reflect on myself. Am I staying within my comfort zone, and this comfort zone? What if this comfort zone is the thing that will kill me? So this book is really remarkable. I mean, but but there's always a but. This book I'll give it 4.5 star if there is if there is such a rating. This book is definitely 4.5 star. The reason why there the reason why I didn't give it a 5 star is because um there's no answer to this story. I mean, she's just move on. I really like the part where uh about Odysseus. Yeah, there's a part about Uze. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's Uze. Yeah, the African Odyssey. I get where it referenced the Odyssey from. There are blue lotus, there are drugs, that use of drugs, trying to find a cure for her sickness. But it doesn't lead to an answer. The puzzle ball, there is no answer for the puzzle ball. I mean, for some readers, they might enjoy such kind of trope if they enjoy a story without an answer, a story that will left you just hung there without a conclusion, without a strong, solid conclusion. Probably this book is for you. I really love the story, but I give it a 4.5 star just because I prefer a story to have a solid conclusion, a very solid, a very explicit ending. When a story left me hung like a cliffhanger, I feel like there is something missing. So that's why I give it a 4.5 star. Yeah, overall, I still really enjoy reading this book. This book is something that is really great, I guess. There are mention about these other books that I never read. They are too famous because they are too famous, like The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue, Meet the Midnight Library. Now, those two books are too famous, and I don't want to read famous books. That's why that's why I don't know what are the story all about. Yeah, and the next book, I mean, I know it's a bit. I know it's a bit. Uh, how do I say it? Oxymoron, is it? I know it's a bit contradicting when I said just now that I don't want to read famous book, but this book is very famous. The Women by Kristin Hanna is very famous. It's a bestseller, and it got a lot of reviews on Goodreads. The reason why I want to talk about this book is this book really brought me to a strange experience. Um, a strange reading experience similar to when I first read Yellow Face by who is the author of like R.F. Kuang? Yeah, R.F. Kuang. When I first read Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang, I feel very angry and I give it a 3 star. And when I read it again, second time, I mean in a binge reading second time, I feel that this this book, Yellow Face, I'm talking about Yellow Face, actually worth more than 3 star. It actually brought a lot of important messages that I need to reflect. That's why after a few read, I think after that I gave Yellow Face a 5 star. Same goes to this book, The Women. When I first read it, I think it's just so nothing special. I mean, it can easily go like 3.5 star. I don't feel actually I don't in the beginning I'm also got pissed off a little bit in the beginning of the book. Because when a book really pissed me off in the beginning, I will have a bad reading experience subsequently. The whole book ruined by the beginning chapter. Okay, what makes me pissed off in the beginning? There's something related to water. I mean, for those first country, I mean first world people, when they travel to the third world country, they will always tell them, hey, don't drink the water. I mean, it's very cliche and it's quite offensive in some way. I mean, if you are during that time, the World War II, Vietnam War time, and the protagonist, Frankie, she's from United States, from those developed countries, and you are telling a story that is so cliche. An American Caucasian travel to Vietnam, drink the local water and get diarrhea and all that stuff. Those are pretty offensive to me as a person grown up in a third world country. I mean, not third world country, in a developing country. It's kind of offensive for us. You know, we were known to boil our water and drink it. And because of this practice, those from the first world country came here and thought that our water is so clean and they can directly drink it. That's really stupid, I guess. I I just got a little bit offense by the beginning chapter. I mean, by that chapter and by that plot. But that's the thing. When I got pissed off at the beginning, I don't have a good experience reading the whole book. That's why when I first give it a review, I give this book a 3 star. But after that, I kind of reflect to myself, okay, let me ignore the first few chapter and evaluate this book in a whole, the content of this book in a whole. First, why I gave it a 3 star is because this book has a wrong title. This title means the women means a lot of women. I expect this book to have more women characters who are going to play an important role in the plot. Unfortunately, the only important role of this book is Frankie, the protagonist. So, but overall, the plot, the story is actually very good. A lot of interesting, a lot of interesting stories pointed out in the content is actually very good. In the point of view of Frankie, she's a flawed character. She just want to rise up to the ranks of heroes, becoming a heroes among the eyes of her family members. But the thing is, she's a flawed character. And this story, the whole story, is she carries us through the whole story and make her point. And through her eyes, she see other women, how they gone through the Vietnam War. Then I kind of appreciate this story, especially her view on the Americans. Even though she's on the American side, she also see the ugly of their own side. That's why I'm kind of appreciate that. I appreciate that this book did narrate in the other point of view that is seldomly narrate in all those war history books. Yeah, normally when war history books, they are like sided to one side, and if this country A is not happy with country B, they will always tell the perspective of country A, while country B will always tell the perspective of country B without looking at each other. And this book does a justice for war. I mean, for Vietnam War, after I read it. So I guess for this point, this book should be rated more than 4.5 star, or supposed to be 5 stars, because it's very rare. I mean, very rare to have a World War II books with a female protagonist. All I remember is the one with Vietnam War. I think it's Forrest Gump. Is it? Yeah, Forrest Gump, and all those Hitler World War II stories. They are, I mean, a bit. I mean, a bit stressful to read for me, because I still enjoy some fantasy. I enjoy fantasy more than realism, pure historical books. But for this book, the reason I read it is because I expected that this book to have multiple characters, multiple women as the focus point. But I kind of disappointed that the whole book is just about Frankie most of the time. So am I recommending this book? Yes, I think this is a good book to read. This book is not bad. But if this book is to be adapted into movie, I would suggest not to use the women as the title. Instead, use Frankie as the book title. It'll make it more memorable. Why? Because we have Forrest Gump. We have Forrest Gump. What else? We have whatever book that is. Like, for example, just now I showed Caligula. Just the Caligula name would be great. Like Dictator. Who is the dictator? Yeah, those kind of title would be great. I mean, the women is wrongly used title. I mean, if this story is titled The Woman, The Woman, probably yes, it stands for, it means Frankie or something like that. So yeah, this book is great, but just with the wrong title. That's what I think. This is my review. All right. What's next? I'm still looking for some niche book that I can read. Do recommend me some niche book if you have some titles. I really trying to get used to make this YouTube video, because normally when I make this YouTube video live, I don't prepare anything. I don't want to spend time on preparing anything. I just want to train myself so that I can get used to this kind of ad hoc review thing, so that